We thank you for staying tuned. It is still the conversation here on Lagos Television. In today's fast-paced world, women are increasingly stepping into leadership and management roles, proving their competence and steering organizations, communities, businesses towards growth. Yet, challenges still exist in ensuring that women are fully equipped with the necessary managerial skills to thrive in diverse sectors. And this is why we are discussing women and managerial skills development today. And we'll be exploring the opportunities, challenges, and the pathways for empowering women to excel as leaders. Now, joining me today to have this conversation is Oluwatomisin Adebukola, a woman's advocate and the executive director of Hope for the Masses Foundation. It's good to have you back again here.
I like the word back. Good morning and good to be here too.
Yeah. Okay, so now, in context of women empowerment, allowing the woman thrive, giving her an enabling environment to be who she desires to be. When we talk about managerial skills development, what does that really mean, and why is it so particular? Why is it so important for women in our society today?
Okay, so good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria. Let's begin with managerial skills. And I think we were born with it. Managerial skills is basically the skill required to manage people. A typical woman was born, raised, tutored to manage people. It starts right from the home. Hardly would you find a woman who wasn't trained as a young girl, whether she went to school or she doesn't go to school, who wasn't trained to manage people, meaning should manage her brothers, manage her siblings, manage her parents, manage family, manage in-laws. So they already prepare you from where you were born for the role. Now, when it comes to the workplace, when it comes to the business world, when it comes to the society itself, how we transfer our skill from the home to
The boardroom.
Or to the society is where the gap lies. So usually, just like for the man as well, every role that you're prepared for would also require you understanding where to operate. So for example, you're managing people in your father's house. When you get to your in-laws' place, you won't manage them the same way. The intuition to know when to say no, when to say nothing, when to act, when to not, would come with you training yourself to understand your environment. Same it is when you get to the boardroom. Same it is when you get to the society itself. So as much as it is very important, I think the requisite skill that is required for every woman, every girl child to be prepared for that role always begins from the home, from the home front. But doesn't mean that we do it well. I didn't say we do it well. I just say that is where it begins from. But doesn't mean we do it well. So you find women who are very docile. They can manage everything, but they're very docile. They need instruction to do it. They know they can do it, but they need instruction. They were raised
They
like
can
that.
take initiatives.
They won't take initiative because they were raised to wait for instructions. Some know what to do, how to do it well, but they just won't do it because they just can't take initiative. But the ones who wait to be told what to do because they were trained to listen for instruction are more than the ones who won't take initiative. So the person they are involved with is saying, why can't you take initiative? Come on, she wasn't taught to take initiative. She was taught to be obedient to instruction. So the training, the kind of training does matter.
All right, so if we, away from the home front now, let's look at it at the boardroom setting. I'd like you to touch on something, leadership skills, because we can't talk about management skills and not also talk about leadership skills. So what's the difference?
Management skill, leadership skill. I have said that you're trained to have managerial skills. But you see, leadership is serving, following, as well as leading.
Say that again, please.
Leadership is serving, following, as well as leading. Three things combined into one. You cannot gain leadership skills, I believe strongly, without being trained for it.
So it's not innate.
you can be born with leadership skills. You can take the front burner when it comes to certain things. Even in school, in the workplace, you may just be naturally a choleric who is empowered naturally to lead. Doesn't mean that you have the skill that it will take to lead properly. You have the push to always be in front. Doesn't mean you know what to do when you get there. Some people are, I'm the first child. And so they are natural born leaders. But they know how to harass aggressively whenever they find themselves in that position. So they find themselves unknowingly bullying their colleagues in the office because nobody taught them to hone the skill. Leadership is following. I'll begin with serving. Anyone who wants to lead, you must learn how to serve. Because you're not just leading people into a particular, into a particular project or something. You are serving a group of people. Take, for example, an organization, or even the one directly opposite you here. They are not paying for adverts, so I won't mention their names. Or we use your organization as a point, as an example. Your organization is being led by a woman, right? Now, if she doesn't know how to serve you guys, just imagine that she sits in her office. She doesn't come down. She doesn't talk to anybody. She just comes in and then she walks straight to her office. She writes everything on paper. She serves it to you and sends instructions. There is the possibility that only about 10% of those instructions will be followed to the latter. Some people will just be rebellious. Some people will just be insulted by the fact that this person is always giving orders. I mean, you told us to go do camera work, maybe go somewhere with 5 cameras. We have only 2 cameras available. You didn't come to ask how many cameras do you have. You're not serving me. You're not serving the people. When you give orders, you're not leading. You're a ruler. When it comes to now following, you see, your people respect you. They are willing to follow you because you follow them too. So it's a two-way street. So that arrow is not pointing at them alone. It's pointing at both of you. So you don't just give orders or instructions. You ask, what can we do better? I'm willing to follow your, in fact, I'm willing to follow your suggestions. Give it to me. Ask questions. Those things are not taught in your bedroom. You can read to learn, but they are practically taught in the classroom and sometimes by living it. And then when it comes to actually, you've followed, you've served, before you now lead, you must know where you are going. Nobody follows a leader that is directionless. If they peradventure follow you for a little while and they note at some point or notice that you don't know where you're going, they will go back. You just discover that you're just going on that one-way street and before you turn back, there is no more. You started with 100 people, not a single person. The only person that will follow you likely is likely your child. If the child belongs to the Gen Z group, she won't follow you too. She will go back home, sit and wait for you to come back and say, do you know everybody left? And then she will say, Mommy, you were going in the wrong direction. We all were not willing. Because she will tell you the truth. The other generations will just say, oh, God, when you were going, we were confused. We missed our way. They won't tell you the truth. But you see that one person? She will tell you the truth. A leader is someone who knows the direction where an organization, a group, a country, a state is going. You define the direction, you know it, you define it, you practically do the work before you start asking those questions.
It's leading by example.
So you already know where you're going. You already know how to get there. But because you're not the only person who will do the job to get you there, you won't come with your ideas. So you come, you have your own notepad, you keep it, and then you say, I'm sure you guys are aware of the direction that we want to go as an organization. How do you propose we can get there? Let me give you guys time. Brainstorm in your different departments. Then let's come together. Let's do a brainstorming session sometime in 48 hours so we can all come together and then agree on where we're going. You have your own notepad. You do the same thing. They do the same. You come together 48 hours later. You're not saying instructions like, okay, so I've thought about it and I think this is the best way to go. And you don't waste their time either. By allowing everybody to talk, and then you say, you shut down this idea, shut down that idea. You're not an emperor. You're a leader, and you're a leader of people. Every instruction you give to people will be investigated, will be imputed, will be used, interpreted by people. So they must have an input in the idea before you give them that direction. Then you agree together and say, this is where we have agreed we're going. And this is how to get there.
This feels like a masterclass, so I hope you have your notepads with you as well. That's right.
So leadership school.
Now let's look at cultural expectations. You know, we are very
That's where the problem
traditional
is.
on this side. Let's look at how cultural expectations or stereotypes affect
Yes.
women in pursuing management roles. And there are some tables that we are going to shake, but let's start from here first.
Daddies and mommies, I'm very sorry, So I usually apologize to daddies and mommies first, because sometimes the fault is not even with the man. In fact, many a time,
It's not with the men.
the fault is not with the man. I did say earlier, if you teach a lion to be a goat, it would imbibe goatly characteristics, but it will never be a goat. But if you teach a goat to be a dog, albeit the behavior seems close, but you would see an anomaly, right? Just imagine that you now teach a dog who is supposed to be hunting to be a rat. It sounds very funny,
Yeah.
but it is the analogy of what happens. When we raise girls, we do not tell them they can do a lot of things. Very few homes do that. Even when we tell them you can do anything you want, we peg it.
There's a bar.
You just tell them you cannot reach beyond where you say it. And so we do not even divide, what we're saying to say, when it comes to the home, this is what I mean. When it comes to the workplace, this is what I mean. You say it as if that is the general standard. So she's not a lion. She's not a goat, so which means she's not stubborn. She possibly was born a cat, which means she's very feeble, she's very homely, she's very lukewarm a little. And then you tell her just to be a cat or a rat. Just don't reach beyond that point, okay? Don't be ferocious. Just stay on your lane. So she follows all her life. She gets to the peak of her career, but she never reaches for anything because she's just been told to stay in that lane. Usually it is difficult to break away from those norms because they were imbibed, inculcated inside of you, planted and deeply rooted inside of you as a child. So for that person to break out, the person needs to go for therapy. First of all, disabuse your mind of everything you were taught, which means everything you've ever known. That's why you see certain people, you see potential inside of them, but they do not achieve anything because they were taught not to reach. If it comes, fine. And even when it comes, they go back home to go seek permission to take it. There's a difference between telling your partner what you desire to do and having him advise and impute, or going to take permission to do it. They mean two different things. What we were told to do is take permission to even be who we were called, born to be. And that's why I say, I will not fault the fathers. These lessons were handed down by our mothers. Our mother would say, don't say anything. Don't argue with him. Your mother has already told you that that's the position of men. You are a senior. So you find people who have subordinates, male subordinates, disrespecting them because they feel that there is something sacred about the male role. That sacred role is in your home, is in your house. It is not in your workplace.
But there are also men who have issues with respecting women who are in authority.
And that's where we're going. And that's where we're going. Some men would say, the moment they promote a woman above me, I will resign. I can't work for a woman. Because they were also taught by the same women in their houses. So they harass their younger sisters, their elder sisters, simply because they are men. They were taught not to respect women from their home. If as a woman you have a boy and you place a demand on your boy child to respect his sisters, trust me, he will get out and respect every girl he meets. But when he harasses his sisters, older or younger, and he feels that he has the right, is the lord of the manor, you've already told him that, Omo, you are in charge of everybody. You are the boss everywhere you go to. Every human being born by a woman is a boss in their own right. You take your place or you refuse to. But please don't blame me if you don't take yours. So if you come to me and you harass me, it's not possible. It's not even possible. You look at my face before you try it. But basically, I think it all comes down to this idea of it's a cultural society. Our culture, coincidentally, does not permit disrespect. Let's take, for example, the Hausa woman. She's not Yoruba, but she's not harassed. Do you know they have more power to divorce? Do you know they divorce faster than every other tribe? She basically can look the man in the face and say, I'm not doing it again. And she says it twice, 3 times, and she's done.
3 times,
it's 3 times. Before a Yoruba woman will contemplate that, she will go and do family meeting more than 3, 4, 5 times. They will beat her on top of the family meeting. In fact, her uncle will slap her. She will still go back to the same house. The husband will beat her for taking him to that place. Our culture does not. We have turned family tradition and subjugating women into a culture. It is not in our culture. Anybody that says it's in our culture should come and tell me why Moremi ever led. Why did Moremi ever lead? Why is it that an Iyaloja will go to the palace and tell Kabesi, they are not selling in the market today, and it will stand? Why couldn't Kabesi have said, okay, Iyaloja, because you said you go and stone her, because she dared to speak to me? No. We brought all of those things about through selfishness. Selfishness, that's how it all came. And it became a tradition. We now turn it to our culture. It's not our culture, it's tradition.
Okay. Let's take this a bit higher now. There's a common perception in our society that ambitious, career-driven women cannot sustain a happy marriage or stay under a man.
This one is very... It is true. Okay, so there are 2 ways to it. It is true and it is also not true at the same time. It's an individual thing. But you'd agree with me that when you get to a certain level of success, it is difficult to submit.
Okay, let me let you talk.
It is difficult doesn't mean it is impossible. It is difficult doesn't mean it is not right for you to submit. It is just that it is difficult. It is difficult because there's a Yoruba proverb that came to my mind. It says, well, you will get, so English? It simply means your character would never leave you, irrespective of how hard you try. It's like smoke is going to come out. So irrespective of how hard you try. But you see, I believe that what makes a woman more powerful is understanding your role in every place that you meet yourself. You're a career woman, you're driven. I take myself, for example. I'm a driven, self-driven career woman. I do not take no for an answer. It does not exist in my dictionary. I will not take it. I don't disrespect myself. I don't accept it. And I do not walk in any place. Any place. I won't walk there. I won't put myself in a situation where I will be disrespected. If I find myself being disrespected, I will silently walk away. I'm not cantankerous. I don't fight. I don't argue. It is training, and it's a personal choice. But you see the interesting part. One of the things I learned along the way, as soon as I understood where I was going and how I was going to do it, one of the things I learned along the way was how to force myself to respect people. I won't pass you without greeting you. I learned that as a child, as a teenager. I would not pass you without greeting you. So I have inculcated the habit of greeting high and low along the way. And that helps me to stay humble. So I learned humility like I would learn leadership. I learned humility like money management. I will not disrespect anybody. If I find myself raising my voice, I will go back to say, I'm sorry. I'll repeat what I said. It is personal training. It could get to your head.
It could, because as humans, the moment you start going
as you're climbing, you feel like
pride
you feel yourself. You feel yourself. You know. There are times you look at yourself in the mirror. You know, you look at yourself in the mirror and say me. But you must stay humble. That's one lesson I will leave with every woman listening today. You must stay humble. Humility helps you much more than pride would ever elevate you. Pride could make a lot of people look at you and say, oh, I like the way she carries herself. But humility would take you places. Because you will open doors your mates who are proud could never open if you stay humble. And one of the places where a woman really needs the man in the house is somebody needs to keep you on your toes and somebody needs to watch your back.
Yeah.
As a woman who is achieving a lot, you need a man to watch your back. You need someone. If you choose not to marry, it's a different thing. I'm not saying there's any fault with it. No. But if you choose to be in that relationship and the man is on your side, because there are ways to it. The man may not be on your side, though. But if you have a man who is on your side supporting you, the man who has got your back, I plead with you to be humble, because that man will watch your six. Every single time you're stepping out, is watching your six. And because you would always have somebody to run your ideas by. So when something is happening, you can easily say, do you know I went somewhere today and I was confused? Before you pick it, he has picked it. And then if you're a spiritual person, because you are also someone who is a high flyer, your husband knows it, your man knows it, he is praying for you. So there are times that he would sense, something is not quite right. He'll pray for you about it. And then when he calls you, he's like, what happened? I prayed about this, I prayed about it. I think you should watch this, watch this, watch this. When you are achieving a lot, you are also too busy to think. You are also too busy. I can tell you for free. My friend was telling me this morning, I said, I have a book launch this afternoon. I committed to it over a month ago, and I cannot remember. And when I got the reminder this morning from the event planner, I'm like, oh, Jesus, what kind of life is this? I couldn't remember. And my friend was like, I traveled. Only one day I traveled. You forgot all of your... Simply because she was there when I had the meeting. So she knew that event was going to take place. But she was like, oh, that's true, But I forgot, totally forgot. Why did I forget? I am busy thinking about other things that are much more important to me at that point in time. But just imagine that you have your agenda, you discuss it with the man every time, and the man looks at you and says, babe, aren't you supposed to have something, a book launch or something in September? Can you remember? You will remember, you go back to it. Both of you cannot forget at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, let's also move to this other table now. Some people believe that women who step into leadership roles lose their femininity and become too tough. Now, how can women balance the
managerial skills? Do you think it is true?
Sometimes it is.
So now ask your question.
If we must be truthful.
If we must be truthful.
Exactly. So now the question should be, how should women balance the managerial skills with maintaining their identity
and your femininity?
Yes,
and that's also being intentional.
Yeah.
I tell you, as you grow in business or as you grow in life, in leadership positions, in managerial positions, as you begin to, when you get to a certain level where you begin to serve on boards, I always use Ibukwan Woshika as a standard. I go back and I check her and I say, this mama did not change now. Tony said, you can't afford to do the same. Do you understand? As you grow, you get to a certain level where you tend to drop certain things. Because you've gotten to a point where you're achieving a lot. And you feel like what you're achieving is much more important than all these tidbits thingy. Okay, take it for example, 2 years ago, I would not come on any television station without makeup on my face. Without a stitch of makeup on my face. It's absolutely impossible. I will not do it. Of course, I was in full-time broadcasting at that point in time, but I still would not do it. But take it 1 year after that. I discovered inside of me a feminine being that wanted to be seen, wanted to be celebrated without the attachments. So I got extra confident. And I tell you, this confidence was just something that happened in less than a year. I got extra confidence with wearing my skin without makeup. And so I began to feel more feminine. And I began to display more femininity. Naturally, gown will never be my thing. It will be trousers. I began to learn it. I had to learn it. Then I found out that it actually makes you feel beautiful. You have to reacquaint yourself with femininity the higher you go. The more you behave like a man, you see, they say you think like a man, you behave like a man, you must look like a woman. It's the subtle way you would enter a board meeting, you'd enter a boardroom, and people will look at you and say, oh, she's beautiful. They'll look at you first before they listen to what will come out of your mouth. Yeah. But you can hide the fireball inside of you beneath the
Yeah.
femininity, and then you're sitting pretty, you're laughing with everybody, you're playing, they're joking, you know, you're all joking, you're playing. But when it comes to time to speak, when you open your mouth, they look at you and they're like, oh, did he just? They would not expect it, because again, they assume that the finer you are, the more feminine you are, the easier it is to push you aside.
Dumber.
They won't take you. I don't want to use that.
They
They won't take you seriously. You know,
Yeah.
they're likely not to take you seriously because you're beautiful. But when you open your mouth and they see that, oh my, they will respect you 10 times
Yeah.
more, because now they see that you're a total package. So that total package woman is actually a woman who understands her role, understands herself, celebrates her femininity, is as fierce as a tigress and as bold as a lion, and will never take no for an answer.
All right. Another issue that I also want you to talk about is for women who are career driven and ambitious. At a point, I've heard stories where the woman will be at a crossroad where she has to choose between her family and pursuing her career. So if a woman is at this crossroad, what would you advise her to do?
Been at that crossroad before. I've been at that crossroad before, so I understand it. As you're growing in life, you know, I mentioned something subtly the other time. I said, if he is on your side. So this statement, we should refer to people who are about to get married, who are thinking of getting married, who are still coming behind. Don't marry your enemy. Your enemy is not somebody who hates you. Your enemy is somebody who likes you being where you are. Don't grow. Just stay there. Don't develop. Don't dream. Don't aspire. Just be there. That's your enemy. If you know that you're a dreamer, you're an achiever, you're a high flyer, marry somebody who will not be threatened by your success. And it is not because he's not succeeding. It is because he's afraid of you catching up to him. Or even going above him. So you have to pick, consciously pick. Pastor Femi Lazarus said something sometimes. He said, if you're a continental woman, don't marry a village man. Don't marry a village man. Don't. If you are the kind of very local person, please pick from your tribe. Your tribe is the only place where you'll find solace. If you're a continental person, please pick from that group so that you won't be struggling. I want to eat basmati rice and I want to eat local rice. Those things are very important, because that is where your problem would begin. If you now want to reach beyond where you are, if you marry right, you will not have problems climbing and making that choice. You may have to make sacrifices. I had to leave my career for 5 years, took a break from full-time broadcasting, and I said, okay, what are the other skills I needed to do business in future? Operations management, sales, marketing. I made a list and I began to take jobs in those fields for 5 years. That was a personal mapping. It was not a discussion. It was done between myself and my mentor. I knew where I was going and I mapped it.
Yeah.
Okay, I had tutelage. I must not take that for granted. I had someone I could go back to. But there were moments, huge moments of sacrifice. Huge moments where I had to resign a job because it said so. Was it comfortable? Was it convenient? Did it lead to the right place? That's my personal story. You can go buy my book to find out that. But if you will make the choice of getting married, marry someone who is going to be 100% on your side. Don't hide who you are. Don't say, because I have been single for a long time, let me just pretend not to be a high flyer so I can marry this man. When you want to start flying tomorrow, he will cut your wings. If he does not know how to, he will invite his family members to come and help him cut your wings. Let him know you're a high flyer. Marry from your tribe. Once you've done that, you're fine, you're good, then you can begin to dream higher. You won't have to make that difficult choice of your career. But as a woman, Same as a man. It's not limited to women. Women more, because we're the ones who nurture. We're the ones who build the home. We're the ones who nurture the children. Women more, you would have to make sacrifices, and you must make those sacrifices. Because again, how good would you feel? You've achieved so much and your children didn't turn out right. So you will need to make those sacrifices when the time comes. But it doesn't mean it's a permanent sacrifice. It's a short-term sacrifice, which you would do and then go back to what you were meant to be doing.
You mentioned something about mentoring, and it just caught my attention to it. So let's talk about how important is mentoring for, especially for young women who are aspiring, you know, to becoming.
If you're aspiring to do anything, apart from waking up and sleeping every day, if you think in the morning of being anything, you have to have a mentor. It doesn't have to be formal. For me, it was formal because I was more in the business line, so I knew that I needed formal mentors. But it doesn't have to be mentorship that is direct and formal. But if I will advise, I would actually say go for it. Full-time mentoring. Someone that you will be accountable 100% to. Someone you will not hide from. You need that mentoring. It is the only way to not feel like you are flying high when you are actually flying low. It is the only way to keep you humble, to keep you on your toes, and then to measure your success over time. When you get married, your husband could be like a part-time. You guys are accountable towards each other. But you see, mentorship is different from accountability only. Mentorship is somebody holding you by the hand and leading you. Somebody who will say to you, no, I don't think you should take this decision. Go back, think about it, come back, come and give me what you think. And then we will look at it together and help you map out a route that will be profitable to the direction you have mapped out for yourself. But mentorship is as important for anyone who does not want to just sleep and wake up every day. Mentorship is, and please let me mention this, mentorship is not your pastor. It's not your affair. When I mean direct mentorship, official mentors, I don't mean your pastor. I don't mean go and be telling your pastor everything you want to do. That's not what I said. It's not your pastor. If your pastor is not a professional in your field, he cannot mentor you. I'm sorry. He cannot. Your pastor is going to be selfish, because when is your mentor and you need to go for a training and it's training school, your pastor needs you to be ministering as a choir member, he will tell you that the things of God,
don't mix it with the things of the world,
are very important.
All right.
Go for mentorship.
Time
professional
is
mentorship.
fast spent, but I just quickly wanted to touch on this. How do you help women dealing with imposter syndrome? Because again, you mentioned about what our culture does. It teaches you not to aim high. So some women are doing a lot, but they still feel like I'm not doing it. So how do you help women with imposter syndrome?
Okay. So first, I did say you need a mentor. Did I also say that you need a therapist? Okay, let me tell you now. You need a therapist. And please, again, your therapist is not your pastor. It's not your spiritual leader, your religious pastor, whatever. It's not. You need a therapist. Your therapy can be group therapy. It could be a group of friends. It could be a hangout. It could be a place where you guys just onboarding. But you need a professional therapist. If you want to unbundle what has been locked up inside of you as a child, and 40 years later you discover that, oh, I was a goat when I was supposed to be a lion, and you want to change direction, you need to understand how you got to where you are. You need a therapist. It's not a shame to go for therapy.
Oh, we must leave this conversation here. Time will not permit us to continue, but this is one enlightening and interesting conversation.
Oh, she said it's a masterclass. You can come and
film it. It's a masterclass. We must thank you again, Oluwatomisin Adebukola.
It's a pleasure.
A women's advocate and executive director, Hope for the Masses Foundation. Now, we have spoken extensively on women and managerial skills development. Thank you so much for sharing insights on this topic.
It's my pleasure. Good to see you again and look forward to being here back.
Thank you. The conversation continues after this. Stay with us.